Hi, I saw this log out for a walk the other day, and I thought from the side with a little bit of a shadow on it, you could see like a little nose, and that looked like the side of a face. It's got a little bit of ivy coming down the side there. Not sure if you thought that was a bit of a disguise. I don't want to see him. So part 12. Homeward brings the sailor home from sea. I've talked about already, but I've noticed in his notes he says this is an adaptation of Sappho. And it may also link to Albert, who was being demobbed because he was returned from the sea. So the Sappho fragment that he's talking about actually relates to the meaning of dawn, which is the rebirth of the sun. So evening thou that bringest all that bright morning scattered, thou bringest the sheep, the goat, the child back to her mother. And I think that links also to this idea of the rooster crowing, Ray, the sun, and the sun rays I mentioned later to do with hanging out, washing. There's also a reference to the child coming back. So the child coming back to the sun, which is also alluded to in that section when Albert and Lil are talking. Robert Louis Stevenson in Requiem, Home is the sailor home from the sea. That poem begins under the wide and starry sea, i.e. the night sky. It says, glad did I live and gladly die, as in pt.12, I think. And there's also Dante's Purgatorio 8:1-2, 'twas now the hour that turneth back desire in those who sail the sea. So the typist could then be an allusion to Lil again, and could link with the lunch at Metropole Cannon Street Hotel. The typist home at tea time could also link to stories of J.J. Angleton, a known spy angler like fish, who apparently would sit in Eliot's office while writing poetry and writing his notes, and a poem would sometimes find its way into his notes, which the secretary would then have to bring back to his attention. I think that story could be an allusion to the fact that some of the poems are definitely coded. And I did read something, and I can't find the link now, but somebody was saying that they think that some of the poems, not necessarily just Eliot's, but poems in general, were written to give secret information. And this person was saying that's all they think it was for. Like, we're looking for these sort of illusions and this mythology and all this other stuff, and it's just location. But I think it comes back to this idea that I think in the Kabbalah there's like 4 levels: emanation, creation, formation, action. So for a poem to work, I think it has to work on all the levels. But of course, poems could have different purposes. That is a side tangent. Except it is very interesting that Eliot had links with several other people that are known to have intelligence links. Anyway, she clears her breakfast, which made me think of break fast, as in stop, a bit like how you would dictate a telegram. And that T also made me think of the teapot asterism in Sagittarius. So the bed/night is mentioned, which could relate to Newt. The bed could also be a cot, particularly in relation to a child. A child was alluded to with the Sappho line. Her drying combination as in a safe. I shall continue.